Happy Wednesday, Twin Flames. Thank you for watching. My name is Pam, and this is God Conscious Twin Flame 1111. It's been a interesting week. I want to thank everybody for your likes, shares, and subscribes, as well as the comments. Those comments help me, encourage me, and especially when you talk about synchronicity, so thank you for that. I want to encourage you to leave comments, send an email to godconscious1111@gmail.com with your stories if you're so inclined. If you would like a personal reading, the links are below. I am preparing to leave town to go to New York, and I am not clear on how many readings I'll be able to do while I'm gone, so I'm in a very prayerful state about how that's going to happen. And bear with me as I try to still continue to do these readings. This is a partial work, partial pleasure kind of visit, and I am looking forward to it. I'm excited. I'm a little bit nervous. I am going through a mix of emotions with this journey. So I prayed this morning, shuffled, and cut the deck. I'm going to prepare to lay them out. I just want to share with you today's Bible verse. Both verses that I got today were in Romans. This one's Romans 8:1-2. Therefore there is verse 1 and 2. Therefore there is now no condemnation for those who are in Christ Jesus, because through Christ Jesus the law of the Spirit who gives life has set you free from the law of sin and death. Then the second verse that I got this morning, which is quite beautiful, is in Romans 8:28. And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love him, who have been called according to his purpose. So, Twin Flames, you have been called according to his purpose to guide you to unconditional love in a very profound way, using a divine partner to help get you clear from any blocks to love that may exist within you. And many of those blocks come from a belief system that is sorely broken, and the truth is pure love. And even when the divine partner is acting a fool, for lack of a better way to put it, it is a call for love. There's been a lot of trauma in our lives. There's been a lot of rejection. There's been a lot of abandonment. I talk about these things because this is the root of the human condition, and it has caused a lot of the upheaval in this country over the last 10 years. You know, the school shootings and the violence and the wars. It's just all illusions of lack of love. And today I just want to remind you that if there is something going on and somebody is lashing out at you, that's a cry for love. And meet it with empathy, meet it with compassion. And in some cases that means just kind of back down and don't engage in the argument. As hard as it can be, just breathe, look at the person, not like they're crazy, but just kind of like, you know, I understand that, I get that. So that's the messages I got today. I had the experience yesterday where there was some upheaval in my family, and fear is an illusion that wants to distract us from all the good things that are happening. And there's a lot of good things happening. And I remember yesterday talking about little miracles, all those little miracles that we could just miss, actually. They're huge. They're really huge. So I want you to focus on those. As I lay out your spread, I shuffled the cards quite a bit. And, wow. So you got 3 major arcana in your reading today. And at the bottom of the deck, and you got 2 kings. At the bottom of the deck, we have the King of Pentacles. So it seems like the Divine Masculine is working really hard on trying to get things situated, and it may feel like it does not include you, because it doesn't. He wants to feel like he's got everything in place before things come together. And although many of us, love our divine partner, doesn't matter if there was a ton of money or no money, the love is still there. They still need to be the provider, and quite honestly, in the Bible it is written that the men have a certain role in this, as do the women, in being in a divine relationship. So the man typically is the provider. And the paradigm shift occurred when I would say more significantly during the women's movement, which created a incredible imbalance. Yes, we are to be independent, but I think that the pendulum swayed way too much in the other direction, where we kind of, for lack of a better word, castrated the masculines in a way in which they could not find their footing. And we want to go back to some of the way God intended relationships to be. So this king is not afraid of hard work. He's not afraid to see a task through. The love that he's lacking can cause him to be standoffish and closed off, or that he believes he's lacking, or that he is or has come back up for healing. Is part of this healing, is part of this process of the undoing that we would want. So we have 2 kings, the impatient king and the patient king, King of Wands. The impatient king and the patient king. This king, who does have patience, can be on the stubborn side. He can be, blunt to the point of exasperating you. He can be materialistic and miserly. But those are, the shadow self coming up for healing, for balance, if you will. There was an idea, and angels, if you'll give that back to me, that would be greatly appreciated. So you might have even seen those parts of your king. Excuse me. You might have seen parts of your king in that regard, where he is on that shadow side. But overall, he's a king, and we're going to wait for him to get to the emperor status. He's a king, and he's working hard on the dark shadow sides of himself. And if they're coming up as in the negative, that's because they're coming up. The contrast is the word I was looking for. The contrast of, being generous and being miserly. There's a contrast. I think they may know. I know that my divine masculine knows that everything that we have was God given, and that we have to share in order to keep it. And so that contrast of being miserly and the contrast of being generous. So getting to the middle of that is going to take a little bit of for some time. Some are there. Now we have the King of Wands in your position. So, full of creative ideas. We kind of know that you've been going through the creative process. And working really hard on different parts of either yourself or even in work. So it's telling me to keep going forward with it, and keep using the ideas that are coming to you to inspire you. So we have in the work position the Judgment card, and the Judgment card is of course a major arcana card, and it's a card that we've been getting a lot of in the last couple of weeks. And it is a positive card of, balance and relationships and keeping things in a forward momentum. And, it talks about as you sow, shall so you reap. So you want to be careful of what you're sowing. What seeds are you planting? And in the positive, you're planting good seeds so that you will reap the benefits. So that's why you want to keep looking for those little miracles. I talk about those little miracles so that they can keep piling up and keep piling up. It also depicts resurrection. So, rising out of the ashes, essentially, the phoenix rising out of the ashes. So you're coming out of these dark nights of the soul, and they're in ebbs and flows. So, from day to day, the energy shifts. As you well know, there could be a thought that triggers one day, and then the next day the thought is, on the more positive. And then, so I know that even in the last couple of days, I've had those ebbs and flows. They're not as severe, and I've said that before. They're not nearly as severe, but I have utilized a lot of the tools that I've been given along this 5-year journey to help me navigate through parts of my dark self, my shadow self, to get to these, I know I want to reap love. I know I want to sow love because I want to reap love. I know that I want to sow patience because I want to reap patience, tolerance, empathy, compassion, the fruits of the spirit. I want to reap those. The outcome in this is judgment, is justice rather. A fair and reasonable outcome. That's your outcome. You will have all that your desire, all that your heart's desire is, if you can maintain a tempered and balanced, it's really all positive, a tempered and balanced self. The Seven of Cups still shows, choices. We have the choices that we get to make as we're moving forward in this. And what are you going to choose? I'll be honest, I'm always honest, because it's the thing that helps. I do feel a little overwhelmed. In the beginning I was overwhelmed. Do I drive or do I fly? I have a lot to do while I'm in New York because I'm still kind of closing things out and getting rid of some stuff, and I'm actually going up really to help my daughter close out some stuff. That's really what the closing out is. And it's overwhelming. And then making a decision, do I reach out to my twin, do I not reach out to my twin? And then, and then from there, it is, do I want to be with my twin? Do I want to, resurrect this? Do I want to go back to that? I can be honest and also tell you that parts of me don't want to go back to it right now. I'm really content with where I'm at, and I still sense that he's going through some clearing, and I don't want to witness it. I don't want to be around it. It's intense, and although I've been much more balanced with it, I'm in indecision personally. So I'm really appreciating that the readings are for me as well as for the collective. I have to share that with you guys. I don't do my own readings. Since I've been doing this, I very rarely do my own readings. I have had other people do readings for me. And one reading was a year, but that was back in March. And then another reading was, and this wasn't really a reading, this was an intuitive who I met over the weekend. And she said 8 months, and that this is just a you know, maybe a reminder for him of what he misses, or I don't know. I just know that I am really ambivalent about spending time with him. I am ambivalent about seeing him. But remember, that's not going to be so unexpected. It's in moderation. I will be happy to see him, as always, when I get into the present. Yes, some of the past, especially the recent past of what happened with us, is coming to the surface. So if that's going on for you, that's normal. You know, I journaled about it, and I just basically say, God and the angels, take this, because there's nothing really I can do about it other than maintain me and stay in my own truth, be as authentic as I can be, and be as honest with him, and not afraid of how he's going to react with my honesty. And his reaction to my honesty in the last few conversations were, do you really have to bring up the past? Can't you let it go? And I'm kind of like, yeah, no, I really can't, because I have to let it out. I have to share this. I have to, you know, just say, you know, I'm being diplomatic about it, and I'm saying, but yeah, this was not cool, and I don't want to live like this. And if there's more of this, I don't want it. I'm honest with that. I am authentic. So he's very, very conscious of the fact that I am stable, and he's not. And then he kind of jokes that this instability is what I like about him. And, you know, the excitement of that, some of that might be true, but overall, I would rather be unstable in other ways, like let's just pick up and go for a weekend, rather than, you know, I want to go, you know, live on the road and do this camper trip for a year, and then bounce back and forth, and then just pick up and leave and say I'm going and I'm doing it without you, out of fear, because, you know, he knows he's unstable. He knows he's imbalanced, and he sees how I navigate through my life, and I think it makes him very uncomfortable. But I'm going to try and stay in the moderation, because that's what it's saying that it's the unexpected, because my emotions could, you know, override when I get with him. As you know, when you get with your twin, when you spend time with your twin, it's like, it's like home, and you don't ever want to leave home. And, yeah, so, but there will be a balance. The outcome will be a balance, even with this unexpected, and it'll be fun. And I'm looking forward to sharing even that with you guys this time. You know, the angels would say, Pam, do the readings. He doesn't believe in this journey, so I don't talk with him about it. Even when we were together, he'd say, oh, you're watching that crap again? I would watch my twin flame channels, and oh, don't watch that stuff. And I just, okay, whatever. And now here I am doing the readings, and very happy to be doing them, and very comfortable and confident about them, because I really love being with my twin flame community, and I really love sharing where I'm at. And then I thought, well, it's a good thing I didn't, because everything was kind of involved in my day-to-day life, and catering to him, and everything was so happy and blissful, and it was great it would go great for 2 months, and then he'd go through this upheaval, and then I'd be like, and I would stay in prayer and in meditation and in balance, but, you know, not maybe necessarily so devoted to the twin flame journey. I wouldn't watch the videos as much, and I would just kind of take a step back and stay closer to God. So I had that contrast of following and not following, following and not following. And and now I'm not going to give this up. I don't want to give this up, and I think that God and the angels had me do this so that I don't give this up, because I really enjoy being a way shower and a light bearer. You know, this is showing that there is, and maybe the unexpected is there will be a successful harmonization within me in this meeting with him this weekend. Or I may choose not to meet with him this weekend. I'll be there for 10 days. but it suggests the perfect union. And I know that the perfect union is within me, and that if we can have that together, we have that. You know, whenever we're together, there is no problem. It's just that his thinking, his ego, gets in the way, and he does things to not love me, or me for not to love him, because he still feels so unworthy. And it shows. He sabotages, and I don't take that personally anymore. And I think part of the journey is don't take it personally. Don't take it personally. Just be, I'm going to try to be as receptive. I'm going to ask you to be as receptive for reconciliation to take place. I am coming back to Florida, so it's not like I'm staying there. You know, I have that, I'm coming back to Florida. I'm not going to stay in New York. And then maybe he'll have to make the decision. Or maybe, you know, we'll get to live both half here and half there. But who knows? And again, as the outcome card, you have justice, balance, rational, logical thinking, you know, intellectual mind rather than an emotional mind. That's what I want more than anything. That's what I want for you guys more than anything. An intellectual, balanced mind. So the events, so the major arcana usually represents the situations on the outside that create this on the inside. And so you may come into events that are going to really strengthen this. And I think on Tuesday when we had the Tower card of the complete undoing is what helps to bring about these balances within us, so that we're not going over the deep end, so we're not being swayed to and fro, so we aren't taking any of this personally. If you guys are in legal matters, some of you are married, some of your divine partners are married, so if you're going through this divorce process, it will rule in your favor. And you may not be aware of the ruling in your favor being the best outcome for you, so you can now open your mind to that potential that, oh, it seems like I'm giving away everything. But sometimes we give away everything to have everything. The material world can be rebuilt, but your internal world is so much more important. What will bring you the most peace of mind? What will bring you the most joy? And sometimes we can identify what will bring us the most joy within us. And the divine will intervene in the Tower form, and we'll say, oh, wow, I'm so glad that didn't happen. God's redirection is for our protection. You will have a beneficial outcome. So if you can just completely repeat that mantra, it will be beneficial for me. And I'm excited. I don't know what this means. I don't know what's going to happen. And I'm in that mode right now. I don't know what's going to happen when I go there. I don't know what to expect. I do know that there are some other family issues going on that I'm being mindful of. And I know that I can pray over them, and I can smudge, and I can do all these rituals that I have become accustomed to that have helped me find balance, helped me temper my emotions and the mood swings. And when somebody is getting a little upset over the phone, I could just say, yeah, that's really small in the bigger scheme of things. I have to be mindful, though, not to say that to the person, because that sets them off even further. But it's true. It's, you know, how important is it? At the end of the day, God's will be done, and I'm going to look for that. What is God's will in this situation? What is God's will in all these situations? I want to be receptive to reconciliations. I'm encouraging you to be receptive to reconciliations. Now, the reconciliations doesn't mean, you know, like an immediate... it's slow. It's a process, kind of like your journey has been a process. Let it be a slow journey back to the divine partner. I know that in the times that we got together, it was like a magnet coming together, but then it was like the, you know, magnets that were repelling. But I was like we were like a magnet to a refrigerator, and then if you put the polarity of the two magnets together, then we're separated again. So that's kind of part of what the runner's chaser phase kind of represents, is the polarities. and then you get to go back into your little, he goes to the cave and you go back to your room, and you lick your wounds, and and but we have a lot more wisdom now, and we have a lot more people out to share this journey with, and we have a lot more encouragement than we had 3, 4, 5 years ago, when we have a lot more understanding. Last night I meditated and went to sleep over the book of Psalms, which is also a book of wisdom, as well as the book of Proverbs. But last night it was Psalms, and the angels brought me to a journal that I had done that had nothing to do with him, but it was during the time that we were together, and it had to do with the family dynamics that I came into this world with, which were very divisive and still are, but I just have excused myself from it, and my daughter, and in it said, I want to break these patterns once and for all, because these patterns showed up in all female relationships. It showed up with all women where I had a lack of trust for them, and there was always a mirror to that, and now I don't struggle with that. I don't even notice it. It's kind of like gone. If a woman in my life is being divisive, it does not affect me the way it used to. I don't hold it, I don't pass judgment on it. I just say, okay, I pray. So I got to do the same with the divine partner. I know that it's going on around me now, and I just pray that it gets resolved in the highest and best use for the person who's engaging in it, and for me to be a vessel to help move that energy out of the realm of existence in this situation. So in there, I remember that I did read, and I'll encourage you to look into getting this book, The Four Agreements, by Don Miguel Ruiz. Powerful book. And in the book, it talks about looking at a movie screen and seeing yourself through the eyes of the people in your life. And they all have a different perception on who you are. And you're looking at it and you're saying, well, that's not me. That's not me. That's not me. But all these different people, from your mother to your sister to your husband, maybe to your children, all have a different perception of who you are. And then you're saying, but I'm this and I'm that and I'm the other thing. So now let's say there is 3 people up on that screen sharing who you are, and you're sitting there going in confusion. So those are the things. Their perception of you is based on their reality, based on their past experiences, and based on maybe the people that you remind them of. I need a little water. It reminds me of the temperance card. Just being in balance. That everybody comes to the table, I say, with, 5 tall contractor bags worth of garbage, including us. And we got to sort through them in a way that is ultimately, towards the end, it becomes balanced, and we have choices. We don't have to become overwhelmed, but we do. And just be aware that you might become overwhelmed. One of the viewers yesterday said, did you feel that rush of anxiety? Probably about 9:30, 10 o'clock Central Time, maybe a little later, and 11 o'clock Eastern. I'm not sure about the other time zones, so you would have probably been about 8 California. I'm not sure where all you are from. Then you have the devil, which is also, passionate. It could mean addictions. It could mean, a situation dragging you down. And it could mean enslavement. It could mean a manipulative or controlling relationship. Maybe, you're healing the relationship with your parents. Maybe right now you're healing that. Maybe you're healing a relationship from an old relationship. you know, some old cords that were in you from an old. It could lead to, you know, overindulging because you don't know what to do in your overwhelmedness. But then you have the Temperance card and Judgment and Justice cards to kind of offset that potential energy coming through.